Hello again, I am Blunty. This video, following this intro, you'll see another intro for the other show I do on Digidirect TV, the camera review and photography and video type show thing I do for a local camera store here in Australia for Digidirect, called Digidirect TV. I just wanted to do this little preface because I am cross-posting. I want to point out when I'm doing that and why, and that's simply, this time it's already in the title, you know, I'm cross-posting because it's a review of the Nikon D810, a really shiny, spicky camera that a lot of people on this channel, my personal channel, have been asking me to review. So, one review, two places to make sure you all get a chance to see it. It's very, very simple, really. So, on to Digidirect now. We'll fade out from this. We'll fade into the intro for the Digidirect show. Subscribe over there if you do come to my channel for the camera stuff, by the way, because there's nothing but camera stuff on that channel. Thanks. Hello again, Shadowbuggers. I am Blunty and welcome to this episode of Digidirect TV that verges on pixel pornography. Metaphorically speaking. Alright guys, still feeling pretty under the weather, but on the mend, thanks for all the well wishes and stuff. Today's episode is, of course, about the Nikon D810, the newest, shiniest member of their family. It is, of course, an upgrade to the D800. It is a bit better in lots of different ways. If you want to know how you can read the spec sheets and go and look at comparison charts and stuff, you know, that's not how I do things here. How I do things here is I take the camera, I go out in the world and I shoot with it and come back and tell you all about how it was to shoot with the damn thing. So I'm not going to go through all the nitty-gritty things. Frankly, there's not much to tell you about the hardware anyway. It looks and feels like a big DSLR. The viewfinder is bright. It's got microphone inputs and HDMI output and manual focus thing over there and buttons on the top that do things and a screen on the back. And I mean, if you're interested in this camera at all, you already know the physics of it. You just want to find out if it's any good when you're out there in the world shooting with it. So that's what I'm here for. There is a couple of things to keep in mind. There is only one model this time around. With the D800, there was two models, with and without an anti-aliasing filter on the sensor. This time, one model only. They figured it all out. They go, well, we don't need the anti-aliasing filter. We can sort of compensate for that in software for the people who need that to do the thing and just deliver the maximum resolution possible without that filter in the way. So, only one model this time, only one decision to make. Do you want it or do you not want it? Let's find out. Actually, before we find out, I should mention which lens I'm using, because people do ask. This is the 35mm G lens from Nikon, the what is it, 1.4? Yeah, 1.4 G lens. It is a superb lens. Now look, I gotta be honest here, you guys and I know the D810, or indeed its predecessor when I reviewed it, isn't really a camera suited to the way I shoot and the types of things that I shoot. The D810 is really for working pros who need acres of resolution, people who shoot billboards and make massive gallery prints, people who carry tripods that weigh more than most children up mountainsides in national parks just to get one perfect shot, people who have studios with enough lighting gear to permanently destroy retinas. And I am none of those things, so my review really can't be instructive for those people. And frankly, those folk already know if they need this camera. What I am, though, is a wander into the world and see what I can shoot kind of guy. So for you people who are aspirational, who have the cash to spoil yourself, or who have generous loved ones, or have just been saving your balls, or indeed your ovaries, off, saving up to buy yourself this, the Pixel King of cameras, here's what I can tell you about how the camera behaves when you take it into the world with that kind of attitude. Now, I know I said I wouldn't get into the dry nitty-gritty bits, but this is important. The standard ISO test kind of stuff. It's a bit deceiving, really. Now, it's true that the D810 is a stronger low-light performer than the D800 was, but it's also true that it's not nearly as crispy in the dark as the D4 is, for example. That thing's a low-light ninja. This is just what happens when you cram so many pixels in to a finite space. Those pixels have to be smaller, so they collect less photons, that's light. It's just optical physics at work. However, it's deceptive because while you see noise earlier at lower ISOs, you also have to take into account that you're also dealing with a huge resolution. So, if you're like me and only ever publish shots online, where no one will ever actually see the full resolution, you can crush down to the final resolution, which will bury quite a lot of that noise anyway. In practice, I was happy to cap off at ISO 6400 while shooting in the wild. In more ideal situations, the level of detail resolved is, well, it's kind of mind-boggling. And again, if you're like me and just push your stuff online instead of aiming for huge gallery prints and billboards, this much resolution lets you do one very cool trick. Well, cheat really, if we're honest. Cropping. Now, I often crop my own images either just a bit to fix up some sloppy composition I may have committed, or just to fake my way into close-up or macro type shots that I couldn't physically get close enough to do normally. Now, some purists out there may turn their nose up at cropping, saying it's not real photography unless you get it right in the camera. Frankly, I don't care. The end result's all that matters. If you make a picture that makes people go, ooh, cool picture, who cares if you cropped it? But with the D810, oh man, it's a whole new world of cheating your way into cropping photos. One single photo can create many possible shots. It can even save you from accidents and missed shots. This, for example, it was a quick shot I tried to get. I whipped the camera up from my hip and tried to capture this bird as it was feeding off the flowers there. As you can see, I was a bit too slow, and by the time I got the focus and pressed the shutter button, the little bugger flew off. I didn't get the shot I wanted, but because I took this shot with the D810, I can do something to rescue it that no other camera I shot with could let me do. What I did was I cropped right in, so far in that any other camera would just have given me a pixely mess, but here I still get a 2 megapixel shot, which is still well above sufficient for sharing on social media, and it's even enough to give me plenty of pixels to throw it in a 1080p video with room to spare. Some may call it cheating, I call it making lemonade from lemons. Now, speaking of video, you get very clean 1080p video from this camera, shooting at frame rates up to 60 frames per second. Woohoo! Groovy slow-mo, here I come. The D810 isn't the ideal tool for video. With that many pixels on the sensor, you get a couple of problems. First, you sacrifice, of course, the low light performance, which in video is a bit more important than still, seeing as you've got a kind of hard floor when it comes to your shutter speeds. But also, you're throwing a lot of information away to bring the image down to 1080p, and that can cause unwelcome artifacts like moire and even loss of detail. However, Nikon aren't dummies, and the D810 does some software trickery with its processor to try and compensate and minimize these issues. It doesn't eliminate them altogether, and you can still see it from time to time, but it is far better than I was expecting. Now look, I'll still take one of the siblings, the D4 or D4S, when it comes to full frame shooting in the Nikon family, but there's no way I can even imagine saying, hey, no thanks man, if someone came up to me and said, here's a D810, go shoot some sweet looking video with it please. In the end, the D810 is a moderate but noticeable step up from the D800. As you'd expect for a second generation family member, it's more capable, more polished, more refined. D800 owners will probably find it hard to justify an upgrade this soon, but the wait-and-see holdouts will be very happy, and those who've been slowly saving with their eyes on the goal of a D800 will find more joy than they planned on here too. The D810 stands alone at the top of its special little hill, well, with the D800, but you see what I mean. Nothing out there yet does quite what it does when it comes to, well, pixel orgies. It's an extremely capable camera. And even if you're not a pro, if you can treat yourself to this thing, you're going to have some fun with it, mate. I'm telling you right now. So there you go, gang. That's my takeaway on the Nikon D810, a spectacular piece of technology, an incredible tool for pros out there, and like I said, if you can afford to spoil yourself with this top-end, premium end of the full-frame censored Nikon line thingy, oh, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're like me and you like to cheat. So that is your lot for this week in Digidirect TV. Thank you for joining us. Do please come and see us on our Google Plus community page and share your shots and have a chat with the other people there. Email me directly if you have a product you want me to look at in one of these shows. And of course, subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. But that is your lot for this week. I am still very low on energy and I wear out very quickly. So I'm going to go have a lie down now. Then I'm going to come back and edit this video. Then I'm going to have another lie down. And then I'm going to upload the video. Probably already going to be late. This was supposed to be up on Thursday. I'm guessing I'll hit the weekend before it goes up. Am I Nostradamus or am I talking through my bum? I don't know. I'm out of here. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to do a coherent bit to camera when you're filled to the gills with painkillers and sedatives and stuff, so you don't feel quite so fluey and miserable and back painy and achy, and it's not easy. I'm an incredibly skilled and talented artiste, a performer in front of the camera to deliver words as eloquently and as fluidly and as multisyllabically. This is it. Damn it! So close, so close. No, wait, multisyllabic is a word. I'm just pronouncing it wrong, aren't I? Doesn't sound right. Multisyllabic. Lots of brain fart. What am I trying to say? It's a word with lots of syllables. Multisyllabic. That's the word, isn't it? Oh God, what's happening to my mind?